Alright, this is a video for anyone who's interested in this 02 F-150. It's an XLT. When I was buying it, I was under the impression it had a 5.4. It doesn't have the 5.4. It has the 4.6, which is still a V8. It's just a smaller V8. Honestly, in my opinion, especially in the time that we're in right now, the 4.6 is the optimal choice. It's got much better fuel economy than the 5.4. Oil hasn't been changed in at least a few thousand kilometers, but that's it's probably due. I should do that even before I sell it. I may not, but either way, it's definitely a little dirty, but it's got a brand new thermostat and she runs flawlessly. The only issue is it's got a slight exhaust leak at the manifold. That's not an issue in my mind, but and it's a common issue with these things to have broken manifold studs, and it's not worth drilling them out for me anyway. If you wanted to do that, I'll go for it. But here, I'll go ahead and fire it up for you. Starts up every time, runs very well. You can hear that tick. That tick is the exhaust leak. It's not actually a tick. That, here, I'll give you a closer listen. That's the exhaust leak I'm talking about. So you can hear there. But aside from that, there's absolutely no mechanical issues whatsoever. Mechanically, this thing is wonderful. It has a brand new, actually, it has brand new U-joints in the drive shaft. It had a vibration at highway speeds. That's totally fixed. Brand new U-joint. The rear one was quite bad, so definitely needed that. E-brake doesn't seem to be super strong, but that's not a huge deal. Headlights, fog lights, hazards, turn signals, everything works. It's a tilt column, which is nice. Horn works. That dinging is for the seatbelt. Drives me crazy, but that's just something that all these Fords did. Factory radio. Everything works just fine there. Heat, AC, both work wonderful. The only issue with the heat is on this little dial here. You can see low and first don't work. So second and third are the only two that do work. Here, I'll go ahead and put the heat on for you. You can hear it doesn't work. Still doesn't work. There's the blower. And it rattles sometimes in the cold. I don't know why. That's the other issue. But aside from that, heat and AC both work. I gotta get away from that ding. It's driving me crazy. Tires are okay. But if you can get past those little things like that stupid seatbelt warning, which drives me crazy, and that blower motor that for some reason doesn't work on those two. I assume it's a blower motor resistor. It's kind of common on these things. I think it's like a $15 part. So yeah, not a huge issue. This side has, it has some rust on the bed here. You can see this here is the worst of it for sure. Coming around the back, it's got very good chrome bumpers. This side doesn't have near the amount of rust that the other side does. Aside from that, it's really nothing to report. Block heater works well down there. Yeah, you can hear the tick probably through this wheel well. It's definitely not a tick, but you can hear it. It's coming right from that manifold there. So that's the issue there. Aside from that, very clean, no rips in the seats. That's a cigarette burn. This truck was smoked in before. Since I've owned it, obviously it hasn't been smoked in, but the previous owner smoked in it relatively heavily. So there are cigarette burns in it. The smell is fading quite a bit. I don't smoke, and I haven't introduced any air fresheners into it or anything, but other than that, it's fantastic. Power mirrors both work. Power windows work. That side is kind of slow coming back up and going down. It gets hung up in the middle, but that's probably a tired motor. This window, auto down and up, is not auto, but it works just fine. And everything like that. Power locks. It has 2 sets of keys. That dinging, man. That just drives me crazy. It goes away once you put the seatbelt on, obviously. It's got 2 sets of keys. Both have fobs. But yeah, power adjustable pedals, power adjustable seat on the actual cushion part. Lumbar is pretty weak on this side, but it works great on the passenger side. And I am being 100% transparent with this truck. I'm not hiding anything. The bed has some stuff in it, so I'm not showing all that. I've got picked up a couple of bikes for a friend of mine, so it's just it's a little messy. I got to clear my tools out of it. But aside from that, I towed a car home from Lethbridge. It was a 4,000 pound, just shy car, well within the towing capacity of this thing. I think it's 6,100 pounds with this cab configuration and this smaller V8 at 61, or no, probably 62 or 64. It was an even number, 100 pounds that this thing can tow. And it towed a 3,700 pound car on a 1,500 pound car hauler back. Didn't even feel like I was towing anything. Like, it was flawless, like not a complaint. And I filled up once. Like, it was I gotta put this seatbelt on here, but I filled up the tank one time, and I towed a car from Lethbridge to Calgary. I must say I was pretty impressed with the fuel economy I was getting. The other issue that you could say this truck has is really in the eyes of any potential buyers or anyone who's interested that's watching this video. You can see 384, 643. That's going to go up. I drive it every day. But 384, that's pretty high mileage. Story with that is the previous owner had owned it for quite some time before me. I have a service booklet this thick, full of service records at Advantage Ford, a couple other Ford dealerships when he was traveling in Lethbridge, and what was the other one? Some other shop in Calgary that he seemed to like. And it's been serviced religiously, I'd say. Oil was changed every 6,000 clicks or something like that. It has new wheel bearings, I believe, on either side. It's been through a couple fuel pumps. He drove it a ton. And the reason the mileage is this high is because he drove it every week from Calgary to Lethbridge, every week. No exceptions, really. So that racked up the mileage pretty darn quick. And he had it for many years. Like, not since new. I think he was the second owner of the thing. But still, definitely had owned it for quite some time and racked up the mileage. This here's check engine light, you may have noticed, is both O2 sensors seem to have heater circuit failures, so it needs O2 sensors pretty bad. It's not affecting gas mileage. It's not affecting the running of the engine. I just don't. I mean, I would put them in if I was keeping the truck. Anyone who wants this truck and wants it to be, spot on, sure, you could replace the oxygen sensors. And that also had detected a cylinder 3 misfire at one point. I haven't got that thing to come back whatsoever. I haven't felt it, haven't got it to come back. I don't know why it said it had a cylinder 3 misfire stored. That hasn't come back whatsoever, so I can't tell you if it has or hasn't. But either way, in fact, I cleared it and it came back on, so I'm pretty sure that's the oxygen sensors. That's the only reason that's on. So that is the most transparent report on this truck I can possibly give you. Transmission is wonderful. You can see the shift indicator is a little off because when you put it in park, it shows it's in reverse. That's a super common issue with these things. It's just the cable. It's a little piece of plastic that's super brittle and breaks, or it's just a cable that's in the wrong spot. Either way, who cares, right? Reverse neutral drive. It's just, I mean, I don't even look at that thing anyway because I know drive is right there. But it's pretty straightforward to follow, and it's wonderful driving it, especially now with the U-joint. 4x4 works fantastic. High, switch it in anytime, it'll work for you. Low is good. Low, in fact, I pulled an F-150 out just this past weekend. Got stuck in probably 4 feet of snow. Pulled it out without a second thought. Obviously, I wasn't in the snow, but it pulled it out very well in 4 low, and there was not anything to complain about. You can hear driving it. There's no wind noise, there's no vibrations, there's no rattling, there's nothing of the sort. The exhaust leak is annoying. I'll stop talking here. I'll let you listen to that, what it sounds like under acceleration. Here you go. Take a listen. So when you're accelerating on the highway, you can hear like that little kind of that seeping out sound of the exhaust fumes coming from the manifold. Certainly not an issue. Just it's just the sound. You can smell it a little bit, but I think if you have the heat on full blast and you're at a red light for 25 minutes, which when are you going to be at a red light for 25 minutes? Then yeah, you'd start to smell it, but when you're driving, you don't smell it. You don't have to drive with the window down. You don't have to do any of that nonsense. Yeah, nothing to worry about there. Yeah, drives fantastic. Battery is strong. I've started it when we had that really cold week there at the beginning of winter. Started it in I think it was like minus 33, and it was slow to crank a little bit. It was probably, half the speed of the normal crank, and started it anyway. I think it was probably 3 cranks it got. It was just, and then it started right up without any hesitation. The battery is strong. The power steering pump makes a little whining noise when it's cold. That's just because it's cold. Like these pumps, it's a common thing with these trucks. The pumps just weren't built that well. Like it's just Ford. I don't know. I'm sure they had them built somewhere other than here, and they were not manufactured as well as they were in the 70s. So they make a little bit of noise in the cold. Generally speaking, nothing. The steering works great. Drives super straight. I've let go of the steering wheel. Drives very, very straight. Yeah, nothing to report that's significant with this truck in any negative manner whatsoever. That's not an ashtray, that's the cup holders. Cup holders work, the mechanism works here. There's 2 cigarette outlets right behind there, coming to a stop. It has brand new brakes in all 4 corners. I can't believe it took me this long to mention it. Not a single noise you hear when you hit the brakes or the gas, except for that exhaust leak. Pretty clean overall too. Like I said, the smell is not incredibly noticeable. You smell it a little bit, but a person who showers every day and hops in this thing, I'm sure it'll smell pretty darn normal in no time. Like, quite frankly, just the smell of clothing and whatever else, I don't know, just the absence of cigarettes is enough to make this thing smell just fine. And it really isn't that strong. It's not overcoming. It's not abundant. It's just there. There's a little noise. I don't know if you can hear it. It's a pulley that seems to be making a little bit of a chirping, not chirping, just a little bit of a whining noise, a little squeak. It's sporadic. I don't know when it happens. I can't replicate it. It seems to be when the engine hits, 600 RPM or so, it starts to, you start to notice it. But even then it goes away. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Headlights work fine. Gauge lights work fine. You can see we're getting dark here. It's only 4:29 and we're getting dark. So yeah, I just thought I'd make this video just in case anybody asks, what's the truck like? Can you send me a video of it running? Here's a 13-minute and 11-second video, probably more by the time I'm done talking, of the truck. And it is a very, very clear, transparent, forthcoming video. I am not hiding anything with this truck. There's nothing to hide whatsoever. It's great. Mileage is higher. Don't let that deter you. Doesn't make a sound. Yeah, I drive this to Strathmore all the time. I drive weekly to and from Strathmore, and I need a smaller car to do that. But usually I'm doing truck activities with it, which is, putting stuff in the bed and, other things of the like. And yeah, I'm not doing that often enough to justify driving a truck out to Strathmore and putting more kilometers on this thing. The fuel mileage isn't terrible, but it's still not as good as a Ford Focus. It's not a small car. You're gonna notice it. I'm honestly, the economy I'm getting is, I want to say I'm getting right around 10 to 13 liters per 100 kilometers, which is phenomenal, but it's it's still not 6, which is what a Focus would get. So yeah, I mean 13-ish, give or take. Usually on the highway it's more like 11.5 liters per 100, and yeah, absolutely phenomenal, especially for a truck, right? You get to haul a Crown Vic back and use a tank of gas. That's pretty darn good. From Lethbridge. That's crazy to me. Yeah, I love the truck. I don't want to sell it, but I kind of should. So, yeah, any other questions, give me a call, 403-585-5515. Definitely worth taking a look at, especially if you need something out in the country or driving to and from Calgary. If you live rurally and you work in Calgary, something like that, definitely worth taking a look at this thing. Yeah, any other questions, don't hesitate to call me. And yeah, look forward to meeting you. Look forward to doing business with you. Thanks. Bye-bye.